people said they could. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so welcome everyone to the Rosh Chodesh Tamuz Women's Circle. Oh, sorry, I'm just trying to get up. I usually have some notes here. Okay, so welcome everyone. This month again is so packed with energy. There's so much to say. I'm almost like, how do I almost like make this all come together in an hour? But with Hashem's help, we will. And then we're going to have this amazing visualization to bring it down even more so. So the month of Tamuz is a super, super powerful month, and it's considered really the beginning of the summer season, right? Even though in many parts of the world it's been warm for some time, but it's actually considered Kabbalistically the beginning of the summer season. And the summer actually refers to it as a time where there's an excessive revelation of godliness in the summer. And an excessive revelation, it says, of the Yud Kei Vav Kei name of God. The Yud Kei Vav Kei name of God is the highest tetragrammaton name of God. We've spoken about this many times because each of the month actually have a different permutation of this highest name of God, the tetragrammaton Yud Kei Vav Kei name of Hashem. But it says in the summer, this name is revealed in a very, very, very strong way. And that means that in the sun itself means that there's more of an aptitude to connect to spirituality in the summer. Now that could feel like sometimes like, the summer actually could feel like very opposite energy, right? It's a time of vacation. People are home from school, kids are home from school. Time of vacation from work, you kind of relax, chill out, go to the beach, get a nice tan. But really, really, the energy and the spiritual energy of the summer is extremely powerful and extremely strong. And this comes from a verse that says, where is this from? I think it's from Ezekiel, but I'm not sure. It says, Ki shemesh umagen havaya elokim. That shemesh, the sun, umagen, which is the protection, really the ozone layer of the sun. Havaya is the name of God, the Yud Kei Vav Kei name of God, which is the tetragrammaton name of God, and Elokim, which is God as within nature. So again, the sun, Shemesh, is reflective of this Yud Kei Vav Kei, the highest name of God, which is the name of God that's all about revelation and light and expansiveness, expansive revelation of godliness. And Magen, which literally means is translated as a shield or a protection, is the name of God called Elokim, which is the name of God that's within nature. Elokim is the same numerology as the word Teva, which is nature. So God, the world itself could not exist if this intense revelation of spirituality was not, there was no veil, there was no shield over it, because the intensity of the spiritual, of really God's spirituality would be so strong that what did God do? He created this veil of nature, which is there for us to be able to contain God's light. And that is Elokim. So it says that during the summer months, there is more of, again, there's more of a revelation of Yud Kei Vav Kei and less of a revelation of Elokim. And the opposite is true in the winter. In the winter, there is more of this withholding and less of this revelation of God's light. And that's why physically it's actually cold in the winter. There's less light, less spiritual light, less revelation. And actually, it's really interesting because it says that hot regions of the globe in general have more of a revelation of the Yud Kei Vav Kei, of this spiritual light. So many of the Kabbalists specifically would choose to live in warm climates. Like it says about the Maimonides, he lived in Morocco, he lived in Cordoba, Spain, then he lived in Egypt, he came to Israel, like places that were warm climates. And I remember reading a story once where he was having a debate with another one of another Kabbalist. I don't remember who it was. And he was saying to him, you don't get what I'm saying because you live in a cold climate. In other words, he was really saying, like, because I live in a warm climate, I'm more attuned to the spirituality, right? So that's one thing. So again, this is a time that we have to know, even though it doesn't seem that way, because we're on vacation mode in many ways, that there's an intense amount of spiritual energy that's available to us in these months, specifically in the month of Tammuz, the beginning of the summer. But yet, we'll see in this month, there's also other contradictory energies going on that make it harder for us to access the spirituality, right? Like it's challenging in the summer. You know, we're in this vacation mode, and it's hard for us often to actually access this spirituality. And why is that? Now, that is because Tammuz, the etymology of the word Tammuz actually comes from, it's the name of a Babylonian, or I think maybe a Canaanite idol. The etymology of all the different months actually come from Babylonian names. And this Babylonian name, actually, it's the name of an idol, okay? It says in Ezekiel that there was this idol called Tammuz. Now, this idol was created, actually, it's a very interesting thing. I was reading up on it today. It's created from a hollow image of a deity. They created this image of this deity, and it was hollow. And what did they do? They filled the eyes of this idol with lead. And then what did they lit up this idol? And what happened was the lead would actually melt. And it seemed as though this idol was crying. This Tammuz idol was actually crying. And there were tears coming out of this idol. And it says that the women specifically would come around this idol, and they would be evoked to tears when they would see the Tammuz idol crying. Very interesting story here, right? This Tammuz idol. Now, again, we're going to learn this very soon, that Tammuz actually is the sense of Tammuz's sight. So we see again, even in this idol, the eyes were crying. The eyes were tearing up. That's what this Tammuz idol represents. Now, Tammuz also represents the summer solstice. Okay, now what is this idea of the summer solstice and the winter solstice? So the winter solstice, which is actually going into the summer, it's a time when the days are actually getting longer, right? There's more light. The days are longer, which means there's more light. And it's a time when there's a sense of longing, there's a sense of excitement, there's a sense of potential in the air. But what happens with the summer solstice, which we're heading into right now, this is the end of the longest days of the year. So what is the ending of the longest days of the year? Again, there's less light, there's less revelation, meaning that there's less possibilities, there's less potential. So it says that what were the women were crying about? The women were actually crying because they felt this sense of a longing of potential that wasn't fulfilled. That's what it says on a deeper level, why these women were actually crying. Now, what do we see again about the month of Tammuz and the month of Av? It says these are times where we're crying for generations. They're times of destruction, right? It says that the temples were destroyed. Beginning of the destruction actually happened on the 17th day of the month of Tammuz, and it was completed on Tisha B'Av. So these months actually we see as a time of destruction, a time of crying. But really, 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 the essence of the month is not crying out of despair, out of desperation, and out of a loss of possibilities, which is what this essence of the idol is. But the crying of Tammuz, we have to really tap into this idea of a holy cry, which is a crying for the potential that is and the hope for a better future. It's really, in essence, what the crying of Tammuz really should be, the rectification of the idol worshiping of Tammuz, is tears of transformation, tears of hope for like a greater future. So that's really the rectification of this Tammuz idol that we're really tapping into during the month of this month. Now I saw, before I move on, I just saw someone put something in the chat box. I just want to check that out fast. The majority of greater Kabbalah is born in the summer. That's interesting. I'm not sure if they were all born. There's actually a number of them that I know. The Arizal actually passed away in the summer. His yahrzeit is in the summer. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, his day of passing is Lag BaOmer, which is getting into the summer months. there's other great, who else was it? The Ramak also is Yartzeit, day of passing, but I'm not sure. It's actually a very interesting question though.
Well, Mashiach will be born on the 9th of Av.
Exactly. Mashiach, yeah.
Born or appear? We don't know. Just
it says that Mashiach is going to be born in the 9th of Av. And as we're going to see very well soon, it says that these months really are a time of the whole essence of these months, or is a time of transformation. That there's tremendous amount of potential for Mashiach in these months.
awesome. Thank you.
Because again, of the tremendous amount of spiritual energy that's really available to us in this time. So these months, even though it's a time of what we call destruction, we're going to see it's really, really, really in the essence of everything. It's really a time of great transformation, as we're going to get into really soon. So what is the essence of idolatry? Okay, so again, this is like a weird thing, like the etymology of Tamuz is an idol. What is idolatry in its essence? Idolatry is taking a god, taking a man's image and saying this is a god. So really, what is it doing in essence? Idolatry is really worshiping of the self, worshiping of the body, right? Worshiping of the very physical. So in this month, again, there's this potential that it could be a month that we have the ability to reveal this tremendous godly potential that's available to us, or it could be about the tan and the body, and we could be absorbed in this whole sense of self, of being on the beach, and our nice, making sure that we're skinny to fit in our bathing suit and whatever it is on the beach, and our tan. But in essence, it's really a choice that we have this month to recognize the source of the sun. And again, it's like the rays of the sun to give us a tan, or the rays of the sun to access more spirituality. But the potential is huge this month. Really, really, really huge. And again, this idea of this idol with these tears of despair, these women that were crying with tears of despair. So it's either we have to tap into the idea that it's not tears of despair, it's not tears of loss of possibility, but really it's tears of potential. And it's a time that Miley was saying that Mashiach is born in these months. So it's a time, do we see this month as a time of destruction? Or do we see this month as a time of redemption? It's really all about our perception, our sense of sight, as we're going to get into very soon. So Tamuz and Av, they really were supposed to be, the way the fabric of the world was created, they were supposed to be times of tremendous blessings. And it says that when Mashiach comes, they're going to be times of these are going to be the most joyous months actually on the Jewish calendar. Now, why is that? So although how did it really revert to a time of great destruction? So we're going to see here, according to Jewish history, how this really happened. So it says that although the Torah was given on Mount Sinai, on Shavuot, in the last month, in the month of Sivan, what happened after the giving of the Torah? It says that Moses, he went up the mountain again for 40 days to study in partnership with God. Why did he go back up the mountain? Because he went back up the mountain to make the Torah accessible, to bring godliness down from heaven, down to earth in a way that was accessible for us. Because it says Moses, even when he came down from Mount Sinai, he had such a revelation of spirituality that it said he had to actually wear a veil to protect himself. He was beaming so much intense spiritual light, and there was so much revelation of godliness that it wasn't even accessible to us. It was too much in a way that was removed from the world. So what happened? He went back up for another 40 days to bring down the Torah in a way that it was accessible to the world, in a way that we could relate to it, we could connect to it. And according to the calculations, he was going up for 40 days, and he was supposed to come down on the 17th day of the month of Tamuz. But what happened? There was a miscalculation in the number of hours, and actually they were off by 6 hours. Okay, they said Moses is supposed to come down. They're waiting an hour, they're waiting 2 hours, they're waiting 3 hours. They get to the 6th hour, they're like, oh my God, he's not coming down. They panicked, they thought Moses died. And what happened? Many of them rebelled. The whole mixed multitude got together, And they created, what did they do? They formed this golden calf, right? And actually the women and the tribe of Levi, the Kohanim, did not join in. So woo to us ladies, we didn't buy into this panic mode, but everyone else did. And Moses comes down, ready to give these tablets, ready to make the Torah accessible to the Jewish people. And what happens? He sees this golden calf. And what does he do? He smashes the tablets down onto the floor. And what happens then? It was a lost opportunity. We were 6 hours away from eternal paradise. Mashiach was supposed to come. We were 6 hours away. But what happened? It was a lost opportunity. It says that if the tablets actually had entered our possession, we would have stepped straight into Mashiach times. It was scheduled. So really, Mashiach was scheduled to come on the 17th day of Tamuz. And instead, what happened? The golden calf happened, the tablets were smashed again, and it was a lost opportunity. So because Tammuz is the month of our fall, right? Again, Mashiach was supposed to come. But at the end, this wound up being the time of our greatest fall. We always know this, that Kabbalistically, it has to provide the keys to repair within it, right? Anyone who's learned with me and has learned Kabbalah, Hasidus for a while knows that if there is a sense of a loss, it has to mean that within the destruction, there's the keys for redemption. Within this fall, there has to be the keys for repair, okay? Now, how do we rectify the month of Tammuz? How do we do that? Every month, as we've learned for all these months, has a special sense and a special Hebrew letter that allows us to repair the damage that was done during that month, okay? So if in order for us to really understand how do we repair this whole rectification of Tammuz, we have to understand the sense of the month, which is the sense of sight, and the letter of the month, which is the letter Chet. Now, this is a teaching that I actually learned from Sarah Yehudit Schneider. I don't know if any of you are familiar with her. She's a brilliant woman, brilliant, and she's one of my most favorite teachers, and I learned this actually from her. So I want to give credit to where this came from. So she was saying, in order to understand, again, we've discussed this concept many different times, that in order to understand how do we use the energy of something, we always have to go back to the first place that we saw it in the Torah. So we want to look back to where is the first place that we mentioned sight, because again, sight is the sense of the month. And where is the first place in the Torah that we saw the letter Chet, which is the letter of the month. So both of those places, both of the letter and the sense of the month actually appear within the first 4 verses of Genesis. Okay, the first 4 verses of Bereshit. What do we see? It says, and I'm going to read it in English, and the earth was chaos and it was void. It was choshech, tohu vavohu, the choshech al panei tehom, and there was darkness upon the face of the earth. So the choshech, the darkness, is the first place that we see the letter Chet. And where do we first see the concept of sight, of seeing? Also is in the two verses later in Genesis where it said, God said, let there be light. And there was light. God saw the light and it was good. Okay, so again, we see that God saw the light and it was good. And the first letter is Chet, which is Choshech. So, okay, seeing is connected to light. That makes sense. But how is the letter Chet associated with darkness? Okay, now, since everything always, again, follows the beginning, so, and again, we always want to go back to the source of where is the first place, the first mention of these concepts in the Torah. So since the letter Chet, which is darkness, and the idea of sight are both very closely interconnected in the verses, there must be a very deep interconnection between these two ideas of seeing and darkness. Now, seeing and darkness seem like very contradictory things, right? We see in the light, we don't see in the darkness. So what is this idea that sight and darkness, what is this juxtaposition of these two really saying for us? So really, in essence, the Sefer Yetzirah, which is the book of that really tells us all the senses of the month and the letters of the month and all the energy of the month, is saying, it's almost giving us like a challenge. It's saying that the rectification of this month is to allow us to see in the dark, right? Seeing in the darkness is actually really the rectification of the month of Tammuz. Okay, like it's easy to see in the light, right? You walk into a light, easy to see. But when it's dark, and dark really means when we have challenges, when we have obstacles, when we have difficulties, when we're in a dark place, whoa, to really see, see and have hope and really like be in a place of expansiveness is so challenging. So, and that's the rectification of the month. Now, in order to understand this, again, we're talking about, this is really deep stuff here, okay, ladies? Now, in order to understand this even more so, we're going to look into a teaching of Rabbi Yitzhak Ginsburg, who's another really powerful, amazing teacher. And he actually goes into this concept I saw a little bit deeper, even more so. So he explains this idea of again, what is this idea of light, of really, and of seeing in the darkness really about? And he explains this idea that this is a very important idea, that creation is constantly renewing itself. This is something we've spoken about a lot. I know in our classes here, that creation is not something that happened in the first 6 days, the creation of the world, but creation is constantly renewing itself at every single moment. It says, Hashem mechadesh b'chol yom tamid ma'aseh bereshit, that in God's goodness, he constantly renews the world, renews himself and renews the work of creation. So, and I have to tell you, I think this was one of the most powerful teachings that I ever learned, because, we could be in life and we could feel so stuck in our life, right? But when we really tap into this idea that what was a moment ago, okay, I could feel like I'm in the dumps and like I've had the hardest day and life has just been like a rat race. But when I really tap into this idea that at every single moment, God is renewing the world with new possibilities that never existed since the creation of the world, that is huge. It's like a huge shift in the way we experience our life. Like when we really internalize it, it's something to really internalize. Like when you're feeling like, whoa, life is overtaking us, when we really tap into this idea that every moment creation is reverting back to a place of tohu vavohu, to a place of chaos. And at every moment, the world is literally created anew, recreated at every moment, ex nihilo, like something from nothing. Again, by God's will for the world to exist, the world is literally dissolving at every moment, reconstituting itself again in each instant. That is so powerful. Now, another powerful, even more powerful idea about this, when we really tap into this, is the idea that the world, when God is recreating the world, it's not that he's recreating the world and okay, the world was a moment ago and it dissolved and it's being recreated and it's the same world that was. But it actually says that according to Kabbalah, that every single moment, the world is actually dissolving, okay? And a new light, a higher light is actually entering the world, a new light called Or Makif, which is actually the surrounding light, which is the highest level of spiritual, this huge spiritual light called the Or Makif, the surrounding light. More of that light is actually entering the world in each moment. So at every moment, not only is God recreating the world and creating the world totally anew, but actually more light is entering the world. Okay. Now, what does light mean? Light means goodness. It says vayarta or kito, that the light is equivalent to goodness. So at every moment, now it doesn't feel like that in our lives. Let me tell you that, right? A lot of times it does not feel that way. It's like, hello, Miriam, are you like really saying like, where are you getting this from? But this is the truth, that at every moment, more light is entering the world. more or makif, this surrounding light of God is entering the world. And that means that more goodness is actually entering the world at every moment. Okay. Now, why don't we see this? Why don't we see it? Okay. Like, hello, like we do not see this. This is not the reality that we're seeing, right? Like, why not? Okay. So in order to understand why it's not the reality, we really have to really learn. Like, that's why I love learning Hasidus. I love learning Kabbalah, because then you're like, okay, I get it. Like, I get why I don't see it that way. Okay. But again, the more we learn, the more we're able to take off the veils and take off our glasses and see deeper. So it's really important to understand this concept. So why is it that we don't? Because we don't see it, because only when it enters into a vessel, into the world itself, can we see it as good. Okay. Again, seeing is the sense of the month. So we only see it as good when it's in a way that it enters into the vessel of this world. Before that, before it's entering into the vessel of this world, it's hidden light. Hidden light means hidden goodness. But hidden light is what? It's darkness. When light is hidden, it's darkness. We don't see the light, it's darkness. Hidden light is really concealed good, right? Hidden means that it's concealed. And what is that? That's all the suffering in the world, all the negativity of the world is hidden light. God is all light. God is all goodness. So if we're not seeing it, it's because that light is actually hidden. Okay. Now, Tanya, and we could have a whole class on this. This is like, I'm giving you like, I hope it's going to be like I'm giving you not too much, because there's literally, we could go on and on about this whole idea in and of itself, but I think it's so powerful that I want to just touch on it. That Tanya really speaks about this idea that there's revealed good and there's concealed good. Revealed good actually comes from a more revealed or an outer layer or superficial layer of God. Okay, when it's revealed. Concealed good, which comes down in this world, not as good as what suffering and difficulties and challenges, actually comes from God's innerness, from a much more concealed place, but it's actually coming from a higher place than revealed good, right? But it's hidden, we don't see it. And the implications for this, I really feel, are so profound, because when there is suffering and when there's difficulties and there's challenges, and no one should ever have to go through these things, we should only see revealed good. But when there is difficulties and there is challenges, we have to know that we are really experiencing a level of depth and intimacy with God and a huge revelation of God's light, but our vessel is too small that we don't perceive it as good. But really, when we go through life, and the more that we are able to perceive it as good and able to literally see through the superficial layers and see it as good, that helps to bring it down into a way of revealed good. Okay. And I was actually learning this week, we had a class actually on Live Kabbalah with, it's a class a new series that we're starting this week. And she was talking about this power of gratitude. Okay. I think some of you may have been on it. And she was saying this idea that of having gratitude for something that didn't happen, but having gratitude saying that it already happened, like the good already happened. And I was thinking about it when I was learning this concept, because I think it's so in sync with this idea that we don't see something revealed in front of our eyes yet, right? We don't see it, but we have to know that in potential, God is all goodness. So by thanking him and saying, I have gratitude for, I told my daughter this idea, like she's so stressed out, she has a test coming up. So, and she's like just so stressed and so overwhelmed, she can't even like study for the test because she's too nervous about the test. So I told her, I was like, you know what? Say, thank you, Hashem. Have gratitude that you already did really well on the test. Thank you, Hashem. I already got an 80. I already did a 90, whatever you want to get on the test. Thank Hashem already that you got the grade. It's like bringing it more into a state from hiddenness into revelation. And this is really the concept of learning to see in the dark. This is really the rectification of the month. The rectification of the month is being able, again, to see the hiddenness, to see in the darkness, to really peel away the external layers of what's happening around us, and really trying to zone in a little bit more to the fact that I know it's difficult and it's challenging, and not to, God forbid, take away from anyone's difficulties and everyone's challenges and anyone's suffering. God forbid, God forbid, God forbid. And it's so difficult, and it's so hard. And we have to have so much compassion on ourselves when we're going through it. But at the same time, to try a little bit to realize that God is with us in this challenge. And there's always good at a level that we don't see. We don't see it, and we may not see it till 120, right? We may not see that goodness, but God is all about goodness and all about light and all about revelation. And to try to peel away those layers and see in the darkness, that's the letter Chet, right? The letter of Choshech. That really is the rectification of this month. And again, if we would have seen this clearly, this month could have been the month of Mashiach, right? What happened when the Jewish people came down from Mount Sinai, and when Moses didn't come down and they didn't see clear, they're like, whoa, it may seem like darkness, but whoa, there's so much, there's light coming on. This could have been Mashiach, right? And our work in Geula right now, and it's so hard, it is hard, is to see Hashem in the darkness. You know, and this reminds me that, again, we're going into the 17th of Tamuz, the day that Moses was supposed to come down, and Mashiach was supposed to come, but it actually was the story of the golden calf. Actually was the start of this destruction of the temple. It says that the walls of the temple were actually surrounded. The breach actually started on the 17th day of Tammuz. And this reminds me of a story. There's a story, I probably said this story a number of times because I just love this story. There's a story of Rabbi Akiva, that he was standing around, and all the sages are standing around. They're watching the destruction of the temple. And all of the sages are crying. They're bursting out in tears. They're crying, and they're wailing, and they're weeping. And Rabbi Akiva is laughing. Now, Rabbi Akiva was the giant of the generation, and he's sitting there laughing, and the temple is being destroyed. And they look at him, they're like, hello, like, why are you laughing? And he says, he's like, I don't even see destruction. I don't see it. All I see is the rebuilding of the temple, the rebuilding of Mashiach, that this is a temporary situation and Mashiach's going to come. So that's the whole essence of, again, Rabbi Akiva was tapping into this idea of seeing in the darkness. He's sitting there watching the temple being destroyed, but he only saw Mashiach. He only saw the potential. He saw Mashiach coming. Okay, now I just want to get into another historical event that happened in this month. It says that yesterday on Chavtet, the 29th day of the month of Sivan, what happened was the spies went out, right? The story of the spies, which was actually last week's Torah portion, it says that they went out on the last day of Sivan, and they traveled for 40 days till the 9th of Av. Okay, now what happened during these 40 days? They were sent out, these spies, to literally be tourists, to tour the land and to give a report of the land, of what they saw in the land. Now, again, these were super holy. These were the princes of the tribes. These were holy, holy individuals sent out on a mission, go out and see the land, tour the land, and give back a report of the land. But what happened? They made themselves into like spies. They didn't just give facts. The land looks like this. The people are like this. They gave their own interpretation of their story, right? And again, the whole month of Tammuz, which is again the idea of sight, of going out, seeing the land, they were traveling for the entire month of Tammuz, doing their mission. That happened in the month of Tammuz. You know, and I really was thinking about this story of the spies, like how many times, what do we do that? Like, are we supposed to go and we're interacting with someone, and instead of just being there, taking in what a person's saying, listening to them, are we making judgment calls, right? How often do we see things and we make judgment calls on what we see? We interpret things. And so many times, like, our interpretations are so far from the truth. Like, we can make statements about things that are like so not really in reality. But that's why the lesson of the spies, it's like to really filter through our ideas and our experiences and seeing people for just what they are, not always putting our own emotional attachment to the situation and our own judgment calls on things, but really, really being there to like live life as more of just like taking in the facts, absorbing what we see, and not only always bringing our emotional reaction and interpretation on situations. So really interesting also. And I was learning a lot of really interesting things this week. So like, and it's amazing how I always love how like all these things are always so interconnected, like things that I learned just like randomly, and how it always connects to like what I'm going to teach. So I actually was really learning, very interesting, that the brain, a little bit about the brain. Now, the cortex of our brain, which is involved with thinking, with critical thinking skills, sees the world in a way of time and space. Okay, we see the world in a way of time, in a way of space, in a way of, in a linear way. But our limbic brain, which is responsible for our emotions, does not see the world in a linear way at all. There's no difference in our emotional brain, our limbic brain, between past, between present, and between future. So often when we're experiencing something and we're in a situation and we're really feeling emotionally charged, why are we really being emotionally charged? Because we may be seeing it like the 5-year-old who was very hurt by her friend or hurt by her mother. Like our inner child may really be seeing the situation, and we may be making a judgment call on the situation that's so not true and so not valid, because again, that's how our emotional brain, our emotional mind works. So what is this idea of like sight of the spies? Really the lesson of the spies is like to try, when we're going through our experiences in life, to sometimes step out of our emotions if we could. Because again, our emotions are so filtered by our experiences of the past, and the way we experience the past so has an effect on how we see ourselves right now, and so has an effect on how we perceive the future to be, when it could be so not true. Like, because again, we have so many potential and so much possibilities within ourselves, way beyond what we give ourselves credit for. And to try to just, again, use this, the lesson of this month is just to try to be more like a, just go through like the tourist, like just go through life and try to just see things in a way without making judgments on them. You know, and also really interesting, I'm actually taking a coaching course in my spare time. So in the coaching course, it was talking this idea of called Spies. Okay, I love this idea. It's like if a person is going through something, an experience, and they're something that they really is difficult, a difficult time, a difficult challenge, whatever they're going through. There's an idea of looking at this thing in a way called Spies. Okay, now Spies mean P is for physical, I is for interpretation, E is for, I think, emotions, and S, I'm not even sure what that stands for, but point being that what is this idea of physical, interpretation, and emotional? Okay, P is physical, like what does my 5 senses tell me about this situation? What do I see? Like, what do I see? Really, what are the 5 senses telling me about the situation? Like, okay, I just had an argument. My friend who usually calls me every day didn't call me. Okay, what am I seeing? Okay, a lot of times we're interpreting the situation. We're saying, oh, she doesn't like me. She's upset about me. She doesn't want to be friends with me anymore. The reality is she didn't call me for the past few days, right? We may be making interpretations. We're making judgments about what that means, but very often we just break apart a situation and we just see it, literally see it for what it is. It helps us clear through and really make sense of situations in life in a whole nother way. And again, that's really the lesson, again, we see in this month of like sight. Also another thing, like, I don't know, just, I love like bringing these things a little bit practical down, but I know with like my kids, so I use this like parenting techniques called conscious discipline. And she says very much so with children, like if they're misbehaving, don't tell them, you seem angry, you seem upset. You know, she's like, make yourself into like a TV reporter, give the facts. I see your voice is being raised. I see that you're turning red in your face. I see you flinging your hands and your feet. She's like, be a reporter, because you're teaching your kids to be able to interpret their actions, that they mean something, but you're making them understand what's happening within their body. You're making them understand what the physical signs really of anger are, but this way they're going to be able to modulate their behavior much more by being aware of the signs of it. But again, it's like tapping into this idea of being, she's like, be a reporter, give the facts. And again, that's really the essence of the month, is this idea of sight, of how we see people, how we see ourselves, and how we really see others. Does anyone have any questions? I feel like I've just like yadded on for a long time. Anyone have any questions? Want to unmute yourself? Put anything in the chat box? Anything?
Can I add something, Miriam?
Yeah, please.
Like, okay, so just from my understanding, the way that I see what you're saying is I see that we're still evolving from the sixth day that we were created on, that man is still in this evolving, we're still trying to understand who we truly are. And that's what I identify with. And so the way that I see this darkness that you're talking about is that we're actually near the end of that sixth day. And when we're near an end of the day, of course, it's getting darker, right? The sun is going down. So as that sun is going down, I see that as that light, but the light is entering in those that are trying to understand it and trying to identify with who God is. So that light is actually really being illuminated in the darkness as that day is coming to a close and it's getting darker. And yeah, and the light, of course, is being more illuminated in the darkness. And the other thing that I see as well, to go along with what you're saying, is that I'm a nurse. So and something I learned through my nursing is that everybody speaks to me. You know, even the people that I wouldn't really think that they'd be speaking to me, that I should be speaking to them and trying to, you know, give them some insight. You know, a person struggling with drug addictions, you know, could say something to me that's very deep and very, very enlightful, and speaking to me through their darkness. You know, but me recognizing in their darkness, God, basically. So kind of to go along with what you just said, kind of speaks to me to the fact that it's sort of seeing in the darkness, even in other people, this light, right? And also to go along with it too, is that sometimes with our perfectionism and wanting to have everything good, we're kind of a little bit too much focused on the darkness. Absolutely. And we're not actually seeing the light, because we're so focused and critical of what the things that we need to change that are wrong. And I think that, again, it being at the end of this day that I think that we're in, it's more clear of what is good and bad. So we're very good at understanding what's good and bad, but if we can be a little bit more focused on what is good instead of so much on the darkness, you know, if we really, really focus just on that good stuff, then we're just going to bring more of that good to the light, you know, and make everybody see it. So they can see it in themselves, and they can see it, and you'll be able to see it as well. It's just, yeah. So I thank you for letting me say that. It's
so beautiful. Yeah. The Lubavitcher Rebbe actually says something very similar to what you're saying. Is like, it's our job now in this world is not to dispel the darkness, but it's to bring more light. I think it's very in sync with what you're saying. It's like focusing on the light. Like we think of like, oh, the darkness, we have to fight the darkness and fight the lies and fight but you know, like really, really, really the best way to bring out to dispel darkness is just by bringing light, right? Like if there's a dark room, what do you have to do? You light a little match and all of a sudden the whole room is lit up. So I think we could spend, what you're saying is like just spending time and energy and connecting to people and bringing out people's light and people's goodness. And that's really what it's about, and it could be so simple. Like, it's amazing what you're saying is so true. Like, as you see it as a nurse, like just smiling at someone and just even, and we're going to get into this now. I love how you're like right into what I'm going to say is like, even just thinking about someone and trying to see the good in them energetically, people feel that. Like they really, really, really feel that. Like if you're just you feel like you want to send love to them. We spoke about this a lot in the class on the tools and the act of love of like, you can literally, we're energetic. We're energetic beings. Our souls are energy, right? And we can really, really connect and give love and bring healing and light and love to people just with our intention, just with our eyes, really just with our eyes,
Yeah, it's awesome.
Beautiful. Yeah. Thank you for sharing.
Thank
so
you.
I have a good blog post you're going to be writing up, Shani.
For sure. Thank you.
So that actually, what you're saying actually gets into my next point perfectly, because I want to get into a little bit of this idea that imagery and visualizations are really so powerful. And that's why soon we're going to have Nili. She's going to be ending up with us with a visualization, because really our eyes are such powerful tools. And our eyes really are a reflection of our ultimately creative ability. And then why is that? Because our eyes literally, Kabbalistically, have this name of God, the Yud Ke Vav Ke name of God within it. Okay. And again, what did we say? We said that God is constantly recreating this world with his Yud Ke Vav Ke name of God. And it's the name of God associated with chesed, with love, with light, with expansiveness. And that's physiologically within our eyes. Okay. It says that the white part of our eyes are connected to the idea of chachma. Okay. The streaks of red, the blood vessels in our eyes, the streaks of red, the streaks of yellow, that is connected to, and chachma, I'm sorry, is connected to the letter Yud of the Yud Ke Vav Ke name of God. The streaks of red and gold in our eyes are the Hey of the Yud Ke Vav Ke, the first Hey. The color of our eyes, the actual eye color, blue, green, whatever the eye color is the Vav, which is the emotional sphirot. And the final Hey, which is the pupil of our eye, the black of our eye, and that is Malchut. So literally, I think this is such a powerful idea. I know this was like, to me, so life-changing to learn this, because our eyes literally have this Yud Ke Vav Ke name of God, which is the name of God, which is about light and expansiveness and chesed within it. So we think of like, okay, how do I not look at someone with a negative eye? Okay, how do I judge people favorably? But really, in the essence of who we are, and the essence of our soul, and the essence of our physiological makeup, our eyes really are meant to look at the good. They're meant to see from the lens of chesed, from the lens of love, from the lens of light. But again, we think of seeing as something very passive, like, okay, this cup came before my eyes and I see it, right? But we can have a very profound effect on what we see by how we see it. When we really, like what you were saying, of like tapping into this idea of like looking at people from the lens of love, which is really the physiological makeup of our eyes. And when we come from that place of positivity, then we can really are looking at someone and we can help them really transform, right? We can transform them by just seeing the good, seeing the positivity in other people. So I thought that was really an amazing idea that I just learned this week. And that really gets into the body part of the month. The body part of the month is actually the right arm, which is the arm of chesed. It says the right arm Kabbalistically is the idea of chesed. So when we see things correctly, which is really the way things really are, because again, God is all about light and all about love, then we're in this place of chesed, right? We're in this place of expansiveness. We're in this place of the right arm, which is again, the transformation of this month from darkness into light, is seeing things through the lens of chesed, through the lens of kindness, through the lens of love. And what is the tetragrammaton of this month? Again, the permutation of the Yud Ke Vav Ke name of God is actually backwards. It's the Hey Vav Hey Yud. It's that whole backwards tetragrammaton, because what is, again, the essence of this month is the idea of transformation, of transforming darkness into light, of destruction into redemption. So that's, again, this idea of backwards, this idea of transforming our perception, again, which is the energy of the month of transformation. It looked like it's bad, but it's really all good. That's the essence of the month. Now, the tribe of the month is the idea of Reuven, which is what does Reuven mean? Reuven literally means to see. Re'eh is the root of Reuven, which means to see. Again, the essence of the month being sight. Now, the sign of the month, of the zodiac of the month, is the Cancer or the crab. So what is the idea of the crab? So first of all, a crab, I just learned this because we were just in the Kinneret and I saw a crab for really the first time in a long time. They actually walk on the side, right? They veer to the side. That's the way they walk. They don't walk straight, they walk to the side. So again, this energy of the month and these contradictory energies of the month of this tremendous spiritual potential, and yet the name of the month is an idol. So this energy of the month, and it's the summer month, which has so much spiritual potential, yet we're hanging out on the beaches and we're vacationing. So there's an energy of the month that can really veer us to the side and skew us away. But when we have our proper lenses on of seeing the essence of the month, of really what it's about, then we're able to stay focused and stay on track and not veer off like the idea of the crab, of the Cancer. Also, physiologically, the crab actually has what's called an exoskeleton. So when a crab grows, it actually sheds off its like outer layer, its hard shell, and it literally completely transforms itself. Again, the idea of transformation to a whole new body. That's how the crab physiologically works. It grows, it transforms, it sheds itself, and it's completely transforming itself. So again, this energy of the month is the idea of transformation, from exile to redemption, of seeing in the light, seeing in the darkness, seeing the light, seeing the good, looking with the lens of positivity, looking with the good eye. So many powerful things about this month. And actually this month, I think, is a water sign. I think a lot of you know this more than I do, but I think it's a water sign, if I'm almost correct. I'm almost 100% sure. Because again, what's the idea of this? Water, all the water element. Water is the idea of the olam diskasia, the hidden worlds. So again, this month is like very mysterious. There's a lot of contradictory energy, a lot of contradictory energy going on. And really, again, it's very much under the surface. So people that are born within this month, we have someone in our family. It's like usually very emotional, very in tune, very sensitive, but there's a lot like underneath them. There's a lot underneath and a lot hidden in this month. Because again, the idea of this month is really seeing in the darkness, like going in deep in the dark, in the underneath the outer layers and the inner layers, and really bringing transformation. So with that said, first of all, does anyone have any other questions before we go on to our imagery visualization that we're going to do? Anyone have any more questions or comments or anything?
I just wanted to say something real quick.
Please.
I'll lower my hand. I just find it interesting that a biblical day does start at night, at sunset. And I think with the darkness, we look at it and we're afraid of it and we don't like it, but it's a great motivator. And I'm not saying to like embrace darkness as in a negative satanic kind of way, but as a motivator, like if there wasn't any darkness, there would never be light. If the darkness wasn't super dark, we wouldn't shine as bright as we possibly can. It's one and the same. There has to be both. And if a biblical day starts at night, then God must look at darkness differently too. And it's us and it's our programming and it's something that we were taught that makes us fear it and hate it and make it a villain almost, and then we become that way. I'm not, again, I know what I'm saying. It's just, that darkness can be a great motivator. And I think when people realize the darkness doesn't control anybody, it's really not a control thing. And people, I think, have put themselves under it, and it has become their control or their God or whatever. And it's just like, oh no, you have to turn on the light. I'm just letting you know, you got to turn on your light.
Yeah.
So when we all do that as individuals, you know, it's sort of like a satellite looking down. You can see the areas that are full of light, the cities, and then the darker areas. But if every one of us turned on our light, especially nowadays, the whole world would be full of light.
Right.
It would just be brilliant. So, you know, I've been through a lot of darkness, and even in this class, I've shared a lot of darkness, and I'm now not looking at it that way. It's just like, it's also a course correction. You know, if my life isn't going great and it seems dark, then that's just a course correction. Then I'm not on my right course, and I need to veer off and stay on the light path, you know?
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
I just,
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, great Kabbalists, they would wake up in the middle of the night and they would have a prayer called Tikkun Chatzot, where they would lament the morning of the temple specifically during the night, at the time of Chatzot, in the middle of the night. Because again, I think we've spoken about this idea that Kabbalistically, that night is compared to, is the idea of the time of Gevura, a time of more constriction, right? The energy. But Gevura actually is a higher spiritual source, Kabbalistically, than actually Chesed. There's a lot of potential within Gevura. Like we've even spoken about this idea that Gevura is actually the highest level of Chesed. That's why Yitzhak, who is the forefather connected to Gevura, his name is Tzchok, is laughter, because really in its essence, Gevura is a time of Chesed. So many great Kabbalists would actually specifically learn at night and use it as a time to really connect very deep, because there's a lot of spiritual potential there. But again, it's not as apparent. It's in a much more in a concealed way. Whereas during the day, when the sun, again, connected to this idea of light, is more apparent, it's more in a revealed way, and we can connect to that more. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, anyone else have anything to say or share, or all the amazing ladies here? Okay, if not, we're gonna have Nili come on. I actually have to get my charger, I noticed, because my computer is getting a little low. Nili, it's okay, I'm gonna pin you. Okay, I'm gonna actually pin you to the middle here. Add pin, I think that's how I do it. Oh, how do I just pin you and not me? Okay, I'm not trying to do that. So we're gonna be side by side, Nili, okay? Awesome. Yeah, if you could unmute yourself, awesome. Okay.
Okay.
Great. I'm just getting my charger.
I'd rather side by side by you. Amazing. Okay. So I don't know if she can hear this, but I just wanted to first say thank you so much to Miriam. Maybe you'll just hear this in the recording. But yeah, it's such an honor to be here. Oh, you're here. Good. You can hear me.
I'm back.
Good. No, I'm just saying that it's such an honor. And what you said about seeing the good in others, like I feel like you really embody that, and that when you really see the good in people, they become that good. And I feel like that's so much about you. So I really appreciate that. And okay, so we're gonna do this visualization. And before we do it, I was just thinking about the word Yetzira, and the word Yetzira is actually, it's one of the four worlds. So it's actually the third world. So we have Atzilus, and then Bria, and then Yetzira, and then Asiya, which is the world of action, our worlds. And the word Yetzira in Hebrew, it's very connected to like tiyur. So to draw in Hebrew is the word tiyur. And it's also, it's interesting because in English, we say we create our own reality, right? Like that's a big thing that a lot of people talk about. We create our own reality. And in Hebrew, so creation is actually the world of Bria. The world of Bria is known as the world of creation. And the world of Yetzira is litzor, is actually the world of formation. And so what we say in Hebrew is litzor et hametziut. So really it's connected to tiyur, to drawing. And so this idea that we create our own reality is really like a very visual thing, that we actually like draw and create that. So the idea of this meditation is, we're doing it now, and but really it's the idea that we're capable of using our minds and using our vision, our chokhmah that you talked about, and really like creating and setting intentions. So this is my my intention, I guess, in doing this, is that like we can be successful in doing that. So it's a practice that I don't always do, but it's a beautiful idea that I learned from someone to really like set an intention, specifically in the morning. You could do it walking, you can do it sitting, thinking, and really just like imagining what you want. And that's exactly what you're talking about, you know, focusing on the light and the goodness that we want in our lives, especially when things are really, you know, not so easy as they have been. So, okay. So we're going to start. So everyone, most important is to be comfortable. So everyone, you can close your eyes. If you want, you can turn the video off. It's not so important, but either way, just be comfortable, close your eyes, put your feet flat on the ground. If you're sitting cross-legged, put your hands on your lap and just feel, just breathe out, breathe a sigh of relief. I'm doing it with you as we go. Release whatever you need to release, the energy of the day, and relax and breathe and take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Just relax and sigh and just be as comfortable as you can be. And this is for you. You're giving yourself this time that we could all use. That's why we're here, to give ourselves the space and the love in order to be our best selves, like someone here said so beautifully. So just take a couple deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. And just feel your body just becoming more and more loose, more, if there's any tension anywhere in your body, just feel, if you can pinpoint, oh, my right shoulder hurts a little bit. Imagine like a warmth and a light specifically in that place. And feel the light kind of like softening that place, wherever there's tension, anywhere in your body. And keep breathing. Open your mouth. Keep your mouth a little bit open, because when we're tense, we like close our mouth and we feel tension in our jaw and things like that. So it's really important to keep your mouth just like a little bit open. So keep the breath going and flowing in through your nose, out through your mouth. And we're going to imagine, we're talking about light, and that the light is increasing in the world. And so imagine this light, however you want to imagine it. You can imagine colors, you can imagine a white light or whatever colored light you see or think. Imagine this great, great, great light, this huge light, this Or Makif. And imagine that this light is filling your vessel, your body. And we want to open up our vessels so that more of this light will enter our body. So imagine kind of like a funnel. You have like on the top of your head, like a little funnel that's open, you know, it's pointed, and then it's, you know, very wide on the top, and it's wide enough to contain, to receive and draw down this great, great light. And imagine this light going in through the top of your head, and it flushes down all along your head, along your brain and your head. It's beautiful light, however you imagine it. And then it's flowing down your face, imagine it. And it's softening your forehead, it's softening your eyebrows. Feel all the muscles in your face relaxing and just melting even with this light, this beautiful, beautiful light, which of course is the light of Hashem. And this light is flowing down your face. You feel it, your eyes, even your eyeballs are softening, they're relaxing. Let go of your eyes, and breathe a sigh of relief if you need to again. And just imagine your jaw, a source of a lot of tension for a lot of people. So imagine it really, really like softening with this great light. Open your jaw and you can soften it. And then this light goes throughout your shoulders and down your arms. And if there's any tension as you feel the light going down, just imagine it softening and melting any tension and any pain in your body. You can move around also, whatever feels good and comfortable to you. And this light is flowing down both of your arms, your chesed and your gevura. And then the light is going down your throat area. We're moving back up a little bit, but it's okay. The light is flowing throughout your whole body. So now it's along your throat, and it goes down, down, down your throat, the front of your throat, the back of your throat. And this is a place of our expression. It's a very powerful area in our body. So imagine this light just flowing down your neck, down your throat, and healing it. And it goes down through your chest, down to your lungs, into your heart. Imagine this light filling your heart. And now really, really imagine your heart. We're going to really go into it. Your heart, we learn, especially in Tanya, the Alter Rebbe talks about how the heart has two sides. We have the right side of the heart and the left side. And the right side of the heart contains our holy, our godly soul. And so imagine, you know what right and left is, so just imagine for you, what's your right side of your heart. And imagine it, tap into it. This is your godly soul. And imagine this great white light filling that right side of your heart. And your heart is being filled with this beautiful white light, this glowing, warm, whatever color you see. It could be white, it could be yellow, it could even be blue, or like a fire. Fire contains so many different colors. So this light is flowing into your heart, into the right part of your heart specifically, and you really, really feel it. You really feel, wow, this is my godly soul that I'm connected to. And then this light goes from the right side of your heart, and there's so much light, and it's so warm and light and overflowing that it overflows from the right side of your heart into the left. And now the left side of your heart is also filled with this light. And in this overflowing and this light filling your entire heart, it's also filling not your godly soul, your animal soul. So it's also being almost, you could say, drowned by this light, like the way darkness is just, it just vanishes with the light. So now your heart is filled with only light. And feel the warmth and the light in your heart, and then feel this light throughout your entire body, down your legs, and all the way down through your knees, down your calves, down to your ankles, through your ankles, and to your feet, and feel the light flow even from your feet down into the floor, the ground, wherever you are. This light is flowing really all the way through you, but it's in you, it's contained in you, and you are a vessel that contains this beautiful light, and you're worthy of holding this most beautiful, divine, holy, warm light. And now that this light has really filled all of you, feel like it's also surrounding you. And you can imagine a really, really warm blanket. It could be like fleece or whatever your favorite fabric is, or you can even imagine just a light, whatever is best for you. So imagine this light or this blanket enwrapping you, almost like you're a little kid, like you're a baby. You're being wrapped in this warmest, softest blanket and light and love. And now you're really, really wrapped and protected by this beautiful, beautiful, warm light. And now we're calm, and now we're happy, and now we feel, maybe we feel a little bit more connected to our hearts, a little bit more connected to our godly soul. And what we want to do is we want to envision the Geula. So with this feeling that we have, and let's tap into it even a little bit more. We feel, what's the best way to feel? What's the best kind of emotions that we can have? It's when we feel good, we feel calm, we feel comfortable, we feel safe, we feel protected, we feel love within our hearts, and we also feel loved. We feel so infinitely loved by Hashem, and we feel loved by ourselves, within ourselves. And this love that we have within ourselves is also overflowing. It's in our hearts, and it's overflowing, and then we're able to give this love. And really the best way to give love is when we're filled with it. When our cup is overflowing, that's when we're really able to give. So this is the beginning of a Geula state, when we already feel within ourselves all of these positive feelings and emotions. And what else are positive things to feel? So when we're good within ourselves, then we're able to feel and have experiences of real positive emotions also with other people. We're able to feel connection, which is so, we can't connect. We can connect to ourselves, we can connect even to our godly soul, we can connect to Hashem, but really, like lo tov l'adam liot levad. We're not meant to be alone. We need to be connecting. We're human. Humanity is all about being connected to other humans. And so connection and unity and joy and love. So these are the feelings we want to feel, we want to tap into. So imagine right now a huge, huge, huge simcha, an amazing, maybe there was a wedding, maybe it was like your brother's wedding or like your best friend's wedding that finally got married after so many years, or just a huge simcha, a bris of a child that was like, they waited for so long, just a huge simcha. You're not sitting alone in your room being happy, and it's beautiful. It has to start from there. It starts within ourselves and within our own well-being and goodness and happiness within ourselves and comfort. But really, simcha is meant to be enjoyed with other people. And this is real geula. Real geula is when we feel this joy and love and connection with other people. So imagine yourself at a wedding or at this bris, wherever it is, this huge, huge simcha, and you just feel like you're bursting with joy and you're dancing. And that's what simcha is. It's such a great joy and energy that it almost like breaks your vessel. It's a sort of like shvilat kelim, but in a good way, where you just like, you're so excited, you're so happy that you have to dance, that your feet move and you jump and you dance and you, whatever movements you make. So this is what we want to tap into, this simcha, however we can. Hopefully you feel it now, even just a little bit, and we can use really our visualization. So imagine you're at this wedding or wherever you are, and you're looking around, you're holding hands with other women and the people around you. You're connected, you're in a circle, a women's circle, just like we're in right now. We're not holding hands, but we are virtually, we're together. And you're holding hands of beautiful other women, and you're dancing, and you all have huge smiles on your faces, and you feel this just indescribable. You can't describe it, but we're trying to tap into it. Just this joy, this unity that only expands and only grows when you experience it with others and when you're in it together and sharing it. So we're in this circle and we're dancing together around and around in circles. And maybe there's a bride in the middle, or whatever it is, whatever simcha you're imagining, and you're just so happy. You're filled with this light and love, and just this unity and joy and love. And that's really what Geula is. Geula is revelation and this unity that we don't always feel. Sometimes we feel separate or isolated, and we just went through for about a year. It's like Hashem put us in this situation where each one of us in our own ways, sometimes it's isolated with family, sometimes it's isolated literally alone, sometimes it's whatever it is, but each one of us, each almost human in the entire world was put in a situation where we were isolated. And that's real galus. That's the opposite. That's the exile. That's the opposite of Geula, because Geula is all about connection and unity and love and joy. And so creating the separation was so that we could really connect in a real way, so that we could come out of this isolation and really have the real revelation and this unity that's on a whole nother level that we never experienced before. And so we're going to just do a little bit more, just a few more moments, a few more minutes of this meditation of visualizing. So now hopefully we feel a little bit this, these good positive feelings. And now we're going to go to Beis HaMikdash. So imagine Beis HaMikdash, the Holy Temple. Maybe you've seen it. I'm sure we've all seen it somehow, somewhere. So whatever picture pops into your mind, that's the Beis HaMikdash. And you're walking to it. You're walking and you're walking and you're feeling great. Your footsteps are light. Your body feels good and light and totally free and relaxed. And you're just walking. Maybe you're walking through the woods, walking through paths, through the streets, wherever you're walking. And maybe you're like even skipping because you're so excited. You're walking to Beis HaMikdash. And maybe you're humming to yourself, maybe even singing. You're so happy. You're walking to Beis HaMikdash. And then you see it from afar And then as you get closer, you're walking, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And then you're walking more, and you really see it. You see like all of it, not just part of it. It's there. It's really like right in front of you. And it's huge. It's bigger than you could even ever imagine at all. It's just like this towering, huge, just glorious, unbelievable. There are towers and they're so high. You look up and you feel like, wow, I can't even see that high. And there's this immense light that's like flowing, that's flooding everything around it. And you feel that light and you're just, wow, you feel like that light is engulfing you and just enwrapping you. And then you see you're in this reverie of this light. And then you look down a little bit because your neck was, you're trying to take in this beautiful vision of this Beis HaMikdash. And then you put your head down more a little bit, and then you see what's in front of you. And you see standing right in front of you, your best friend. And maybe you saw her yesterday, or maybe it's your best friend that you haven't seen in like 5, 10, 15, however many years. And you see your best friend and you're so happy to see her. You just feel this overflowing love for your friend. And what do? Maybe you scream, maybe you're like, whatever, or just like laughing, but you both have huge smiles on your faces, and her face is filled with this beautiful light, and you give each other a big hug, and you're just so happy to see her. And then you're so happy that you guys start dancing because you're in Beis HaMikdash. We are literally standing in Beis HaMikdash. And then you look around more and you see you're surrounded by it's filled, Beis HaMikdash is filled with other holy, beautiful women. Some of them you've met before, others you haven't met before, but those you met, those you didn't meet, it's like all of them. You look and you just see neshamas. You see one holy neshama after another holy neshama, these beautiful, holy faces. And you're all just so happy to see each other and to be together in Beis HaMikdash. And you hold hands and you dance together. And there's a big circle of women just connecting and just feeling this unbelievable, indescribable, this joy and this unity. And you're jumping and dancing and you're praising Hashem that we made it. We walked to Beis HaMikdash and we're in the Geula Hashlema V'Amitit. We're in Beis HaMikdash. And it's just revelation. It's just goodness. It's pure, it's simple, it's clear, and everything else washes away. And it's Ha'inu Kecholmim. It was like we were dreamers. Someone might even say to you, oh my gosh, remember last year? Remember like a few months ago? There was this corona? Everyone was wearing masks. Remember that? And you're gonna be like, what? And even now, maybe we feel that a little bit. Sometimes we have these moments where we're like, what? Like that happened? I was isolated for months. I didn't leave my house. Going to the grocery store was so stressful. Like it's almost like a dream, right? So then it'll literally be like a dream. And this is why Hashem is preparing us by taking us through these different crazy things that have happened. And when we get to the Geula, it'll really be like we were dreamers. This will be a dream, but we're already in the process. We're there. And we can imagine that we're really there. And so now we're gonna slowly, in your own time, you can start, breathe a sigh of relief. You can start opening your eyes and come back to where you are. Feel your feet on the ground. Feel yourself sitting wherever you are. Feel yourself really present in the moment. And where are we now? We're with a bunch of beautiful, holy women as part of a women's circle, which we're so honored to be part of. And really, we're already there. We're already in Beis HaMikdash. And you can open your eyes, you can scroll through if you want and see the other beautiful, holy women in the group.
Oh, wow.
Their beautiful smiles.
Wow.
Maybe maybe we're crying because we're so happy.
Wow.
Maybe we're just, I don't know, whatever it is, but either way, but Ezrat Hashem, we should be there for real.
Amen.
Hey, stop.
Wow, that was powerful.
Amen.
I'm still like, ooh, a little woozy. Getting around a little bit. Wow.
Yeah. We need to come back down from there. So
Wow.
take your time, take deep breaths, and sigh of relief. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was
Thank you for the honor.
We should all really,
Thank
these
you.
days really should just be they are days of transformation. And really, it says like Mashiach is here. We just have to like open up our eyes. So it's like so powerful what you did, because it's not like envisioning something that's like a distant reality. It really, really is like visualizing it, making it real, making it like something that we could like tangibly see, literally. Just like sight is the most clearest thing. Like this is how it has to be. Like we have to like really tap into that. It's like here, and even within ourselves, like our own redemption. It's here. It's like we could feel like so. Whoa! It's been so intense, but really, 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 really like just opening our eyes. That's it. Like shifting our consciousness. So thank you so much for allowing us to tap into that. That was so beautiful. Wow. Thank you. So, I have to tell you, ladies, all that we've actually come a full year circle. I started this women's circle last year, Rosh Chodesh Av. So we're actually done of all the months on the calendar. Many of you, I think, actually have been here actually for all these. So I have ideas spurring in my head about what we're going to continue with, because I feel like I've done already. They're all like recorded. They're actually on YouTube. So I have to kind of like shift things up. If anyone has any ideas, please message me for sure. I was thinking a little bit of like even going a little bit deeper, maybe into some of the energies of the month. Like every month is connected to a different sphere. Like, I don't know, I have like ideas like in my head, but I'm excited to see like what we're going to do, but we're going to continue either way. We're going to definitely continue. And it was great. Yeah, it's amazing. I love this group. I love this. Like, this is like my highlight of my month. So thank you all for joining. Thank you, everyone. Esther, Bleemy, they left already, but thank you all. And have a beautiful, beautiful month. And hi, Brenda. Thank you. Thank you for joining. And looking forward. We should all be together. We should join together in that circle next month in the Beis HaMikdash. We'll make a little corner for all of us. Thank you again. Have a good day. Chodesh Tov, everyone. Thank you for joining. Okay. Chodesh Tov. Bye-bye. Bye.